Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1188A and today's date is January 26, 2017 and the title of the episode is Warning Deutsche Bank Reports Global Economy. Well, it's about to roll over. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now today we see the stock market, well, it's continually moving up and up and up, and the corporate media is making a big deal about this. This is Trump euphoria, unbelievable, and it looks like they're trying to take what is happening in the market and they want to hook it to Donald Trump. And what is happening right now is they're trying to get everything together so they can blame it on Trump. Now, what's very interesting is that when Obama was in office, the statistical numbers looked fantastic. Everything was great. And then once the election was over, all of a sudden, we can see that the statistical numbers, well, they're starting to change. And what they're doing slowly but surely is they're going to link everything that he's doing with the economy failing. Now, this is why we've been tracking the economic collapse, what has been happening in the economy for a long time. So they can't say, hey, look, all of a sudden things started going the opposite direction. So what they're going to be doing is unemployment will start to rise, initial jobless claims will start to rise, the housing market will get worse, and they'll start saying it's because of Trump's policies. And we're already starting to see some of this. Initial and continuing claims, well, they've been trending lower and lower and lower towards the election period of time. And while Obama was in the White House, it looked fantastic. It was hit lows as low as 1973. And ever since, they've been moving up. And what's very interesting is that we talked about the Fed's National Activity Index, and that was doing absolutely awful. Actually, it was the opposite of what was happening in initial jobless claims and continuing claims. Now, as initial jobless claims and continuing claims are starting to move up, we see that the Fed National Activity Index is going the opposite way. So the central bankers right now, the elite, are saying, look at this. We're saying everything is fine, and it looks like the economy is getting worse according to government statistics. Very interesting. We see that new home sales right now, well, they've collapsed in December. And they only expected a 0.7% decline, but sales crashed by 10.4%, the most since March of 2015. And they're probably going to blame Trump for this. Why? Why all of a sudden would things start to change? Well, when we've been looking at the housing market, they haven't changed. But now they're reporting that the housing market isn't doing as well as they thought. And of course, remember when he first came in, he decided to reverse what Obama did with lowering the fees that subprime people would have to pay to get a loan. So we can see already that they're going to blame the housing market turning down most likely on what he's doing. Now, this has nothing to do with that. The housing market was turning down way before that. They were trying to lessen the fees to bring more people in to blow up the debt. But what we see happening right now is there are a lot of things occurring and things are rapidly falling apart. And if we look, we can see that the Midwest crashed by 41%. And it's just absolutely awful. And mortgage apps, they've been declining. They have a little pop-up, but things are actually getting worse. And as time moves on, it is not going to get any better whatsoever. Now, it seems to be a strange coincidence that the Dow hit 20,000 points and we're at almost $20 trillion worth of debt. And we have the number 20 on both here. And what that tells us is that the stock market, well, it's been pushed up by the debt, by the creation of the free money. And that is what we're seeing. And we know that this debt is unsustainable because the budget director that Trump appointed, well, he already told us, we have major problems coming up. We have the debt ceiling vote coming up in March. And we can see already that Trump is cutting a lot of programs. He has a hiring freeze on government workers. And we know that as we move forward, that things, well, they're going to deteriorate very, very quickly. We're already starting to see it. Trump's expected ambassador to the EU, well, he's looking at the situation saying, short the euro. The EU is going to collapse in the next 12 to 18 months, maybe even sooner. Now, that's quite scary. And he did say, the one thing I would do in 2017 is short the euro. And we can see what's happening out in Europe. We can see the UK is about to leave. We can see that Italy, France, and many other countries, they're going to follow suit. And the central bankers, well, they're going to fight to keep all these countries. And which means when these countries start to leave, one way or another, the EU is going to have major problems. We're going to see the Eurozone completely break up. And this is going to have a domino effect across Europe and then back into the States. And we see right now that the Eurozone is going to break up. And now we have Deutsche Bank. They've come out with a warning that the global economy, well, it's about to roll over. Deutsche Bank's European equity strategist, Sebastian Reidler, highlighted that according to the latest flash PMIs, global growth momentum hit a 6-year high in January. And they went on to say, with global macro surprises close to their all-time high, much of which has been predicated on the relentless debt creation by China, which just got instruction to slow down dramatically in the current quarter, the Deutsche Bank strategist says they are likely to roll over from the current elevated levels, resulting in a slowdown in global growth in the coming months. Now, we talked about global growth, world trade. And we know that this is very low, and we know that it's a complete illusion. And what they're saying is that things are starting to freeze up. And everything is about to change. Finally, they're saying there's no more cash on the sidelines. Cash holdings for U.S. mutual funds are close to a 5-year low, suggesting that little money remains on the sideline waiting to come in to the market. I mean, at this point, we can see that things are getting ready to completely reverse themselves. We can see that the central bank, they're getting ready to change it up and show that the economy is deteriorating right now. The numbers that are going to be coming out, well, they're not going to be those great numbers anymore. Things are going to slowly deteriorate over time because they need to set up the narrative that the economy now is getting worse. We went through 8 years of incredible growth. The economy is fantastic. And now it's slowing. And as Trump puts his policies forward, things are going to get worse. This is the story they're going to tell. And we can see it has already started. And we know for a fact that we've had no growth whatsoever. The entire 8 years, it has been one big illusion to trick the people. I mean, if we go back in time, we've been looking at retail. Has that improved? No, it's contracted. We've seen more and more stores close every single year. More and more people get laid off. Have corporate profits improved? No, they have not. How did they make the housing market look good? Well, they blew up bubbles in 20 different cities with free money. They told hedge funds, investment companies, buy as much as you can. Don't sell them. Keep them off the market. Banks, same thing. Don't foreclose. Keep them off the market. Pushes prices up. Speculators come in. GDP. They rework those numbers. They added health expenses in there. They added research and development. They went all the way back to 1929, recalculated all the way to the present time. The last GDP numbers that came out that were 3.2, that was an export of soybeans. A one-off thing. So we can see that everything they've been talking about, well, it's been an illusion for a very long time. And we're heading towards an inflationary depression. It's coming. And this is just the beginning. We've been in a recession. Remember, governments don't report recessions when they actually start. They go back in time and say, oh yes, by the way, the recession started February of 2016, just to let everyone know. But we've been in a recession. We saw all the indicators flashing that we're in a recession. And right now, we are in the beginning stages of a depression. We have 20 trillion in debt, over 200 trillion in unfunded liabilities, over a quadrillion, yes, I said quadrillion, in derivatives held by banks. Our GDP is only about 17 trillion a year, and world GDP is only about 60 trillion. And it doesn't take a math whiz to realize that even if we're not paying any interest at all on these massive debts, there's no way to ever pay it back unless we default. And this is what's being planned right now. Trump is the master of bankruptcy. Trump is the master of taking a business that is not doing well and bringing it through a default. This is what he's getting prepared to do here in the United States. And this is exactly what a depression is. It's to wipe out all the misallocation of resources and bad debt. And it resets the economy. And this is what is about to happen. Now, we have to understand that going through this period of time, it's going to be very rough for a lot of people. Because all that currency in the bank, all the currency that is made up by digits, well, that's going to be gone. They're going to replace it with worthless bank stock. This is what the bail-in documents were used for. This is why they were created. And the banks are going to take those funds. And we're going to see inflation as the currency is collapsing. And when we see inflation, that means prices are going to go up, means the value of the dollar is decreasing. And it's going to be very difficult to purchase goods. This is why you should have been purchasing these goods all along, because you don't have to worry about price. You don't have to say, oh wow, look, that bread is $75. I already have bread. I have it frozen. I kept it. Or coffee, or anything else. Think about all those individuals on food stamps who are receiving a fixed amount from the government. Let's say the government continually pays out with that money, even though everything's collapsing, just to keep those people happy. Someone who is receiving $500, $600, $700 a month, and the cost of food goes up 20, 30, 40 times. Can these people survive? Are they going to be happy? Then let's take it to the next level. What happens when those funds are not paid to the individuals? So you can see where we're going with this. Credit is going to freeze up. It's going to be cut off. And those people who've been living on credit and have been going to the supermarket and other places using their credit card saying, I'll pay that off later, because they don't have the cash in the bank. What are they going to do? Because credit will not work. In the beginning, they're going to want cash or whatever currency you have in the bank, if there's any left. So this is going to be a very tough situation, and we are in the beginning stages of this. And Trump it looks like, from everything that I'm looking at, is going to guide the nation through this. Now, people are going to be very angry with him. People are going to blame him for everything that's happening. The central bank, the corporate media, everyone's going to be pointing the finger at him. They're going to say, look what happened. Obama was great. Look what you just did. And he's going to have to guide us through all of this. And it's going to be absolutely awful. But on the other side, the country will emerge a better country. The manufacturing will already be set up. He's all ready to bring it back. He's all ready to bring back employees, but we're going to need to go through that period of time first. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.